Good morning! I've got so much to do in the garden. To deadhead, to transplant, to tidy up. But it's so hot outside that I'm gonna run right now under our big willow tree. In our tiny little front yard, under the big willow tree, it is wonderful right now because we are in shade. And this is our shade garden with beautiful shade perennials. Not to mention that my shade perennials are in full bloom right now. Literally, the heuchera is in bloom, purple petticoats. Okay, so these heuchera flowers have already been spent and I will clean them in just 1 second. And hosta white bream is in bloom. And on this retaining wall made of concrete blocks, I still got some cracks in which I can cram a little more plants. Like here between the hellebore and the Japanese painted fern, and here by the heuchera amber, and here, and here, and also here, and here. So last year in these spaces between the concrete blocks I had begonias. But this year I'm planting coleus, which I grew from seed myself. And as I like to say, the hardest thing about coleus is to choose your colors. There's still plenty of potting soil for last year. I will top it up a little bit. I've got my tool here and I'm down to business. So my shade border was already cute before this planting, but now I think it's adorable. And as for coleus, it's a shade plant by excellence. I've already planted it successfully in my window boxes in another episode and I will link it in the description. I must say, this is a splendid shade window box. It's my favorite one for this year. But if I look at my feet, I am a little ashamed. My summer bulbs are in bloom. But I still haven't cleaned up the remains of the narcissi. Last year in the fall, I planted in these pots bulb lasagnas. So deep down I planted the daffodils, 20 centimeters deep or 8 inches deep, and on the top I sprinkled the summer bulbs. Come spring, my narcissi bloomed beautifully. Bella Estrella was my total favorite. And after the blooms faded, I deadheaded them, but I left the leaves in the pot to die back all by themselves and to make sure that I have beautiful blooms once again next year. And now let's clean up the pots. Okay, I think they look better now. Drumstick allium, Queen Fabiola Tritalea, and if you ask me why it's so wonky instead of being straight like a drumstick allium, I think that I planted it too shallow and that the daffodils pushed it up in the springtime. So I will plant it better in the fall. I really love these melting drumsticks and I think they are wonderful for a little flower arrangement. Not to mention that today I had to clean anyway the spring flower bed from the garden. This one. Hi, I'm Michaela and I garden in Zone 6 in Romania, Eastern Europe, where I grow way too many flowers in our tiny cottage garden. One last hurrah for these Madame Butterfly snapdragons on bronze and on pink. In total I had 4 varieties of snapdragons and they've been blooming since May. And now it's August, so we had 3 glorious months of snapdragons. I think that's okay. And the last of our yarrow summer pastel mix. And I'm leaving the bottom few inches in the ground because it's perennial. Also, I'm cleaning up this bee balm, which is also the perennial kind in my country, Romania, in Zone 6. So I'm leaving the roots in the ground as well. I love bee balm. I will leave the flowers to condition for a few hours, and perhaps this evening I'm gonna make a purple bouquet with lots and lots of yarrow and lots of bee balm, of course. Because we've got so many filler flowers, we're gonna make a big bouquet out of them, and then we're gonna add the focal flowers, our purple prince zinnias, and the little whimsical flowers which add interest. I'm loosening my grip and ta-da! Pulling the flower down. Dark night, the white one, the cosmos, and we finish off with the color of green stuff. Phew! That was a lot of work, but I'm super happy. I cleaned almost everything in the bed. Of course, I left the stems of the yarrow, which is perennial in my zone 6 in Romania. And look, one more yarrow is just coming out now. It's so cute. And the same goes for the bee balm, of course. But for the rest of it, I have big plans because look! So many seedlings are waiting to be planted. Yes, I know it's August, but I'm still planting stuff. I don't think I'm the kind of gardener who does everything in spring and then is off. I'm the kind of gardener who plants all the time. And this time I made a huge mistake. I forgot to plant basil. Yes, basil, and I'm crazy about basil. I've always been. And in here I've got plenty of flowers for autumn or fall colors. Some more zinnias, some more sunflowers, and a little bit of amaranth as well. However, I'm rushing off to a completely different job because I went down to the city and look what happened. I found all these petunias for just €4. That is $4 or £3. I couldn't resist. And like I said, I'm planting all the time, even in August and maybe even in September. And I'm not only impulsive, I'm also very organized. And I already know what to do with these beautiful petunias because I have 3 spare window boxes all around outside my terrace, which are begging for some color. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. I'm just cleaning out the window box. I'm aerating a little bit the soil. It's very easy. Take out the topsoil and replace it with compost. mix it all up. And I will use 4 little petunias for each window box, because the window box itself is not too big. But first, let's clean up these ladies. They might look terrible right now, but give them a haircut, give them plenty of water, feed them plenty, and I want to show you in 2 weeks' time that will be in full bloom. Top it off with more compost. We add plenty of water. Repeat the same process for the second window box. And I'm putting them in their final place. If you're curious to know what flowers do I grow in here, in pots by the shed, but also what kind of flowers I've got in my flower beds in the garden, click here for the August garden tour of our little cottage garden.